I agree.
because I see it with people all the time, you know? It's for so many reasons.
Hmm. Absolutely. I mean, it's such a hard topic to really like delve into because, and when I say that, I mean like there's probably a lot of people I hope that are listening that are probably like, oh, I'm glad that they're talking about this because it's definitely something that when it does unfortunately occur to you, it's something that you don't really know how to handle because you could, like you can always feel people's emotions. You can always feel how people are kind of being
Yes.
around you or towards you, and you might feel like something is different, but you don't know what it is because all you're focusing on is just making your life better.
Right.
So
Exactly.
you might feel something is off, but this might be like an eye opener to some people of like, oh, maybe it is just that, because you never want to kind of accuse anybody of feeling differently.
Yeah, and you hope that it's not that, and you hope, but you know, a lot of times, you know, one of I think the main reasons this happens is because it makes people realize what they're not doing.
Absolutely.
You know, and when someone's putting in all that effort, and we know how much work it is, you know, when you're really committed to being a better person mentally, physically, emotionally, it's a lot of work.
Yep.
And you will make someone else feel less if you're doing so much more and they're not willing to put the work in. And sometimes people are just not willing to put the work in, or they don't realize what it takes, you know.
That's true.
Or they're like, why are you even putting all this effort into yourself like this?
It's true. I mean, it's always been a thing too, like in any aspect of life, even like weight loss or like, job promotions or just competitiveness in a relationship in general. Like that's one of the things, like me and you have always talked about that too, like real self-improvement makes people uncomfortable.
Yes.
Because it the moment that you truly begin to change your habits, your mindset, your body, your composition, your discipline, like your lifestyle, like, if it's something as little as like, if you're a constant, partier and you tell your friends like, oh, I'm not going out tonight, they're automatically going to be like, why? And look down on it. Because if they're still going out, you're going to make them feel like, oh, am I doing the wrong thing? Or is he being just weird?
Yeah. Well, why don't you want to be fun anymore?
And people around you start reacting to this differently. And that's a key thing, true. Because that's that sentence alone of people around you start to react differently, not people around you start to act differently, because react means that each one of them will have a different reaction to it.
Right.
Not everybody is going to act the same way once you start bettering your habits.
Right.
People are going to react differently. So you might have some people that are like, good for you, man, but I'm still going to the bar.
Right.
Like you might have people that are like, oh, like, what does he think that he's better than us? Like stuff like that. And not because you attack them, you didn't attack anybody, but because your growth naturally forces others to almost kind of examine where they are in their own life.
Right.
So you almost kind of give people like that looking through the glass feeling, like they see you doing something to better yourself, and they're kind of taking a peek through of like, what if I was doing that for myself? Like, oh, like, oh, I didn't think. The thing that's even worse, honestly, which I hate, is when people look at others and like I've heard clients say to me before about like another client that they know, they're like, I didn't think that she would be able to look that good. And I'm like, why would you say that? Like the thing is like, if you're here trying to do the same thing, you saying that about that person just took away 5 seconds of us talking about your progress. Why is that even a topic? Like,
plus it's like such an ugly side of you.
What was that thing that you said the one time where you were like the backhanded compliment?
Yes.
So funny.
Yes. When someone will say
funny,
like,
but it was like, it's funny. The way
like they'll say something like, you look thinner than,
usual.
Than usual.
Yeah,
or it's like, it's a backhanded. It's not really a compliment. It's a compliment, but it's with an insult. It's like, oh, that sweater's better than what you usually wear. Or something, or
it's like, oh, you look so much skinnier when you have a tan.
Yeah, right. Like, that's actually nicer, but I've heard some pretty mean ones.
Okay. Yeah.
And you know what it is? It's like, I always say, if people feel the need to be mean to you for any reason, they're not happy about your progress. It's on them. It's not on you. You have to remember, when someone's taking their energy and putting it in such a negative sense for something you're doing so good, you have to look at that and go, first of all, which I say all the time, are they really my friends? You know, because your friends are not supposed to treat you like that. You know, and at the end of the day, we all have thousands of accomplices, thousands of acquaintances, or people we know, or people. You really only have about 3 or 4 really true good friends. You know, and you know that's why they always say if you can count them on your hand as you get older, you'll really be lucky, because it's hard to come by, because people, listen, it's a lot of it is exactly what it's called, jealousy. And it can even be family. You know, a lot of times it's family, and I don't, you know, most times it's not immediate family, but it's family, like, you know, or just someone feeling good when you're insecure because it's making them feel better. And then all of a sudden you're losing weight and you're looking great and you're walking around and you're feeling so confident and happy. That might not make someone close to you feel good. Not intentionally. It's just they're not feeling good about themselves. And now you're so happy. And where does that leave them? Not your problem. Not your problem. You have to say to them, like, you should be doing what you have to do to make you feel happy, you know? And a lot of times if it's a relationship or something, you do it together. I had one client in this morning and he said, he goes, I was really happy when I left last week. Me and my wife went for a long walk. Because I said to him, it's gorgeous. Go for a walk. Go home and tell her, let's go walking. Sometimes people don't like to do things alone. They need somebody to push them or to have company doing it, you know? And he said it was really nice, which is, I really love that.
That's
you know?
Nice. I like that. It's always nice when it's communal. You know, like even with like working out too, you know, like when you have like a lot of people together to do the same thing,
so great.
It makes it so much easier on you too. Because if you're there by yourself and there's like no loud music, nobody yelling at you, nobody pushing you. It's like you look around almost for like your imaginary friend.
Well, even you know, it's like, a lot harder too when it's on you. Like, so when we just started our class, now I started the one-on-one training once a week. I was like, oh my God, this is so much harder because all eyes are on you. When you're in a class, you could sort of be like, okay, take a sip of water and I'll just watch somebody else for a second. But it's so hard.
Oh, I'll just critique their form. But it's like, but you know what's so funny though about what you said before is that it kind of set it up like it's one of my favorite quotes ever, and it's one of my favorite quotes. By, you know, I love Goggins so much, and one of the quotes that he said that I read the other day was, "You will never meet a hater that's doing better than you."
Very true.
And
very true.
It's like
you really got to think about that sentence for a second, and you'll get
just
it.
let it sink in. Like you will never meet a hater that is doing better than you.
Because if they're doing better than you,
then they would have nothing to hate on.
Right,
exactly,
and that's the whole point. And, like if someone is putting you down because you're doing good things, think about the people in your life. If they're taking the energy and time to put you down, if they're taking the energy and time to say, you know, whatever, you're not fun, or you don't want to go out, or why aren't you having a glass of wine, or what do you mean you're going to exercise again? Like whatever the case is, you know, why are you eating that healthy food? Whatever it is, why are they doing it?
And
it's
listen,
jealousy.
The thing is, which you always have to ask yourself, because one of the things that always frustrated me was people that try to manipulate stuff. You know, think about this, like if it was so easy for somebody to say to you like, oh my God, you're working out again, or like, oh my God, you know, you're not coming out because you're working out, or like doing something positive for yourself. Think about it in this respect, like every time going forward now, so then it might pop out to you the next time. If somebody can say that to you, then they can find something kind to say about like, oh, good for you. And whatever rolls off the tongue first will tell you exactly what you need to know about that person. So if they immediately, like, you should always never judge, but like you should always judge this by the knee-jerk reaction of like, I know you know, you're my mom, and if I'm on my way home from work and I tell you like, you know, no, I'm gonna go work out. It's never like, you know, really? Like you're gonna go work out? It's like, oh, that's great, you know? Like it's always positively affirmed. So if you have somebody that negatively, you know, like negatively knee-jerk reacts to whatever you say that has to do with you bettering yourself, that tells you a lot. And then if you have somebody that says immediately like, that's great, like, oh my God, no, go do your thing. Like that is somebody that wants the best for you.
Exactly. Or that's great. Just giving you a compliment for how hard you're working.
Yeah.
Listen, it doesn't have to be a topic of conversation every time you see them. Maybe they're uncomfortable. That's fine. But it should never be a negative. If it's a negative, you really have to look at that person and say, listen, this is on you. You obviously don't want it from me.
Yep.
I mean, you're not going to say this, but I mean, you could say this. But like, you know, just you have to look and think to yourself, like, why is that the reaction that they gave me when it should just be nothing but positive? Because listen, anyone who does it and really changes their life for the better and puts that work in knows how hard it is. It's not easy. So to get a negative from someone while you're working so hard, it hurts, you know?
And also too, you know, calling out a lot of people here, you know, a lot of people that are watching, listening, probably have done this too, which is fine. You know, everybody does it. But the thing is like, you know, we've all been in that situation at like a party or a wedding or something, and you see someone you haven't seen in a while, and you look at the person next to you and you're like, wow, they don't look too good. Like, it shouldn't always just be fun and gossipy to talk like that.
Exactly. Because you never know what's going on in someone's life.
And if you see somebody that looks better than they have,
it's not fun and gossipy either.
It's not fun and gossipy either.
No.
It's like, wow, look at them.
Because the first thing to say, everyone's like, do you think they're on GLP-1?
The first thing today is always just, you know.
Meanwhile, that person could be working their butt off. Like, we have so many people.
We have so many people.
And they're not on it. And people think they're on it just because they lost so much weight.
Well, you know what it is, too, is like, it's the haters and those people that are so quick to always go to the negative. You know, they criticize, they belittle, they spread negativity to all the friends as well about these people. And then often out of jealousy always, or envy or whatever it is, or their own insecurities. And really what it is at the core is it's a projection of your own lack of progress. Because you keep feeling yourself sinking and sliding backwards, and you're seeing this person get forward in front of you.
Right.
So the only thing that you can do to claim power again, instead of doing the work that they're doing, is talk negatively, because you'll feel like you're doing more.
I'm going to add to that.
Just to close out that point is the energy that is spent on talking, putting that person down, gossiping, complaining about why they can but you can't. It's rather than actually working toward that goal, it's the focus is a trap. Like, it's a negativity trap, and it's a cycle like that keeps you stagnant. And as the years and as the days go by and as the pounds come off that person, pounds are going to be added on you.
Yeah.
And it's just going to be one more day going by. And
even if it's not real weight, it could be emotional.
Exactly.
Just from what you're doing, putting out there.
You know what it is too is, you know, I love this quote too, which I know that you were going to love it too. But this is the key of everything that we just talked about as to, like, you know, why people somehow find it productive for them to focus on other people's goals and their progress, and instead of focusing on themselves. It's because great minds discuss ideas, average minds discuss events, and small minds discuss people.
Oh, wow. I love that. Never heard of that one.
Great minds discuss ideas, which is that person that wants to better their life.
Right.
Small minds will always discuss people.
What was the middle one?
Average minds discuss events.
What's going to happen?
What's going to happen.
Right.
Yep.
Interesting.
But you got to always remember, if you're, you know, a great-minded individual, you're never on the same wavelength as a small-minded
exactly.
person.
So true.
And those the small minds, they need something to think about. So let them think about it. You know?
Exactly.
But always think about that. Never never go down to that level and think about that person that is thinking badly about you.
No, exactly.
Don't become one of them. Just separate yourself.
That's such a good point. And I literally just told somebody that today. I said,
well, you know, it's Denzel. That's why.
Is that really? Yeah. Of course it is. It's so awesome. I told somebody that today. I said, you know, she was going somewhere, and I said, listen, the best thing you can always do when you are around someone that you're uncomfortable because, you know, they just act differently or what, you just always kill them with kindness. Because you want to be yourself. Don't be fake. Be yourself. Hi, how are you? You know, how's it going? And if they choose to be rude or treat you differently because of how you look or who you are, for whatever reason, at the end of the day, you're going to go home and say, I was myself and I was happy and I gave them, you know, gratitude for being there and whatever. and seeing them, and that person's, all they can say is, wow, she was really nice, but whatever, you know. And if they want to go into that negative state, they will. But at least it's not going to be something over what you did, because you're not going to lower yourself to them, what their level is. And that's, I believe that 100%. And I was going to say before, when you were talking, and you were talking about, you know, how people react, sometimes it's not because they're not as good as putting the work in. Some people are just very jealous of other people being better than them. And I've said this before, and I know a lot of people will know this when I say it, because I actually did a video on it. There will always be someone prettier than you, but there will always be someone who's not as pretty as you. There will always be someone thinner than you, but there will always be someone not as thin as you. There will always be someone who has more money than you, but there's always someone who doesn't have as much money as you. And that goes with your health, that goes with everything, relationships. There's always someone who's going to have more, and there's always someone who's going to have less. But that's where you have to look and just be happy with where you are and keep progressing with what you have. Don't wish bad that someone doesn't have as much as they do, or doesn't look as good as they do, because that makes you feel better. That shouldn't make you feel better. That's the point. You know?
Absolutely. No, you're so right. And it's so funny. You just made me think of a thing that I read yesterday. I'll find it. But that makes perfect sense, though. And it's so true, because like when you got to think about, like, you know, it's everybody's first time on earth. You know, like it's everybody's first try. You know, like it's everybody's first life. True. Don't get me started. But it's like, it's a real thing, you know, like it's everybody's first time around, you know, so never think that you're better than somebody else just because, like that's, you know, like,
and don't want more at the expense of someone else. Like don't want, it's great to want more and to be better, but don't put someone else down.
Absolutely.
Because they're doing it, you know.
It's gonna bother
me. You should use people as a goal, you know, and even if it's your best friend, you should look and be happy for them. If they're your best friend, you should be happy for them, you know. I think sometimes we have to evaluate our own personality on how we react to things, because sometimes people have to just say things without thinking, you know, and that can come off really bad, and it can hurt people, you know.
Oh, I found it.
Good.
This is the quote. So this goes directly hand in hand with what you said before about, you know, having more than somebody means that somebody else also has less than you.
Right.
So it was funny, because as soon as it was last night at like 2 a.m, and I just saw this on my phone, and I was like, wow, and I immediately saved it. If everyone in the world wrote down their problems and put them in a hat, would you risk grabbing one or keeping your own?
Oh, I love that. I would never reach in that hat, ever.
That's the thing. It's like, well, that's the thing though. Like, if everyone in the world wrote down their problems and put them in a hat, would you risk grabbing one or keeping your own? So that's the thing, is like, that put it so in perspective for me last night, where I was just laying there and I was like, oh my God, like, wow, my problems really are not as big as I thought.
No,
because it's
never.
like,
and listen,
you know,
it's okay to look at things in your life. And because some people do have bigger problems. Listen, everyone goes through ups and downs in their life, you know. But like we say, most of the time it can always be worse. Of course, I'm not talking about the extreme right now.
Absolutely,
you know, I mean, I've been there. I've lost my parents, lost my sister. You know, I'm not talking about the extreme. I'm talking about like general problems. You know, whether it's health, you know, not dying, but health, like you know, sick. Whether it's financial, whether it's, you know, friendships, whether it's relationships, you know, everyone has things. And a lot of times it's ups and downs, and you got to like just fight through, and just, that's why even with the weight loss, I'm always saying, stay on your path. You know, sometimes it's okay to live in your bubble, stay on your path, and just know what you're doing, and really put your mind and effort into that, because when you do that, that's going to help everything else. It really is, because you're not going to put so much focus into what everyone else is doing when you're focusing on what you're doing. You know?
Absolutely. It's true. And let me ask you a question. Do you think that sometimes this whole topic about the jealousy coming up and everything, do you think that sometimes people get kind of like comfortable with the you that was,
Oh yes,
like, you know, they get
absolutely.
like not only just you yourself, like your personality, but people get comfortable with the version of you that was like struggling
Yep.
before.
Oh,
You know, like
absolutely.
I don't know, I
Yeah,
never understood that, but it's like
it's a thing.
some relationships are built around like the habits that got you there.
Yeah.
You know, and like not only the habits, but like, you know, you guys complain about the same things, and you
Mhm.
guys, you know, like share that aspect of like, you know, being a little lazier and stuff. You know,
Right.
like,
Yeah.
it's like as soon as you start to break out of those habits, like you start to kind of break away from like what made you friends
Right.
or close. You know, and it's like
100%.
that's
That's such a
hard,
good,
you
and I
know?
actually know so many people who go through that because remember too, when you're complaining about my weight,
Mhm.
and you're complaining to your friend who's thinner than you, not
Mhm.
super thin, but thinner than you.
Yeah.
I'm just doing scenarios. I'm not saying anybody specific. I'm just saying it out loud. But so this is how things happen though. But then all of a sudden, that person who's complaining all the time loses all her weight.
Mhm.
Now that person who's not even heavy, but now she just doesn't feel as good
Mhm.
because she's next to someone who lost so much weight and there's no one complaining about it anymore. That's really the thing. She was just so used to and that could be in anything. It could be in relationships. It can
Yep.
be, and relationships meaning like say you have a girlfriend and you're fighting all the time and you're telling your friend all the time, well, his relationship's not great, but it's better than yours.
Yeah.
But then all of a sudden you and your girlfriend go for therapy and you're great.
Yeah.
Well, now what? Now he's
It's
like,
gonna
wait a
make him
second.
feel like his relationship's
Now
worse.
he's like, oh, now he's going to see the faults in his because he wasn't seeing the faults in his as much. He was
Yep.
focusing on yours.
Yep.
You understand?
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it really is hard for that person. And that's when you know sometimes they can be your true friend. They just don't know how to react now because you've
True.
changed.
It's
You've
true.
changed.
And it's almost too like over that time, you know, like because there's competitiveness in every relationship.
Mostly. Yeah.
Mostly. But, you know, during that time too, don't you think that there was some little part of their brain that was thinking like, you know, like they felt comfortable around
Yeah.
that friend
Yeah.
because they knew like they were better. Or
Right.
they knew they
It made
looked
their
better.
life feel better.
It made them feel
Right.
better about themselves.
And a lot of times you don't have to really, you don't see the flaws in your own life when you're focusing on someone else's that's not so great. And you're like, you actually go home and go, wow, my life's not so bad.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But that's really not the way to do it.
It's really not.
You
No,
know?
yeah.
That's
It's
not
like
how you focus on your
if
own
I
life.
only made friends with people that were like very overweight, then like, you know, it's like if
Exactly.
I only made friends with people that were like super skinny, then I'd be like, oh yeah, I'm the biggest in the friend
Yeah,
group,
right.
you know, like or like the most muscular.
Or just say right now, because you're single, right?
Yeah.
Say you only made friends with
Thanks.
people. That could be a good thing.
No, yeah. No, this week Jake's still single.
No, but seriously. So say you made friends with only people
Thank you.
who had terrible relationships.
Mhm.
Because then you're like, I'm single. I don't have to deal with that.
Yeah.
I don't even have to look for somebody because who wants that?
Yeah. And then I'm like, yeah, who wants that?
But then all of a sudden, you know, like I said, they turn and they have a great relationship.
Well, yeah, it's like
And you're like, oh, wait a second.
it's like this is a bad example.
I thought it was pretty good.
No, it's like oh yeah, I hear like, you know, Joey complaining about him and Gabby are fighting or something, and I'm like nobody cares about my problems.
That's so funny.
And I'm like, I'm nagging myself all the time. Like, at least you have somebody to argue with. I'm arguing with myself.
Joey's gonna be like, what are you talking about? We never fight.
I know.
Joey's gonna be like, we never see each other. They're always wrestling. It's one of the positives of
It's true. It's
you can't
true.
fight.
Yeah.
So
But-
funny.
No, that's so funny though. But
Yeah, but it is true. I think,
It is
like
true.
what you said before, it was a great example that it makes people feel comfortable in their own life. And then when you change, they don't know how to react.
Yeah.
They don't know what to do, you know?
yeah.
And sometimes they'll use it against you and they'll be like,
yeah.
well, wait a second. Just say you're having a bad time with your spouse
Mhm.
and you're talking about them to your friend. But then all of a sudden you guys just, reconcile, it gets better.
Mhm.
But they're like, but what about when he did this? Or what about when she did this? Like, if,
Yeah.
and you're like, wait
Digging
a
up
second,
old
why are you
stuff,
doing,
yeah.
why are you doing that? Why are you bringing that up? Like,
Yeah.
we're over it. You're not over it.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. It can really, really,
It's true.
people you have to look, I think you said it best before. You have to look at how someone reacts. When you're happy, they should be happy for you. They shouldn't be bringing up anything. When you're not happy, they support you. You know, same thing with you. You do the same thing with them. If you're losing weight, that's great. They should support you. You know, when you're overweight and you want to go overeat, you know, doesn't mean they have to do that, but they can support you, you know, or just help you get through it or help you feel better. They're supposed to be there for you. And I think what you said before, how they react, that knee-jerk react to what you're doing tells you a lot about how they're feeling about you.
Absolutely. And you know what the thing is too that comes with that, which I was kind of like, I was waiting to tell you this because I feel like you're going to be like, oh my God, you're so right. What comes with that too is once the results start happening and your friend does start looking better, it kind of also removes the excuses from your life, you know, because like when you begin to see progress and then when like, you know, your friends that you hang out with all the time begin to see your progress too, it's kind of like pulling the carpet out from underneath someone because it's like, oh wait, like I'm still living the same way that I am, but they're looking way better every time I see them now. And it's kind of like,
but that should motivate you.
Well, that's the point. You know? Is like we always say about certain things in life is like, you know, you can embrace anything how you want, but it doesn't mean it's the right way, you know, like, does that make sense? Like,
100%.
You know, like everybody embraces things differently, but like, you know, a lot of people embrace a relationship with like, you know, a lot of resentment or something, but a lot of people embrace a relationship with like, I'm just going to go into this with like 100% love and affection and it's great, you know, but if you go into it embracing it some sort of different way or kind of pushing it back, you're going to get different outcomes, you know, obviously.
100%.
So like the point is like when you begin to see people that you care about or like people that you see a lot to have actual real progress and they start to look different, they start to feel different, like of course we're saying, you know, we are saying you should always be happy for that person, but like whether or not it's physically, financially, emotionally, like say like, you know, your friend buys a new bag or buys a new car or something and it's like, oh, look at what I got, you know, like your results become undeniable evidence that it's working for you. So it's going to make that other person feel like, okay, like, you know, why can't I as well? But not everybody thinks that way. A lot of people think, you know, like for some people that's motivating, but for others it becomes uncomfortable because it also kind of weakens that safety net or excuses that they've kind of been holding on to, you know, and it kind of raises the curtain of like what you've been hiding behind the whole time. You know?
And you don't even know it half time
until it's up.
Until the curtain's out.
Yeah, and you start to, you know, and then that's the point, like that we were talking about. It's like not everybody grows alongside you. You know, a lot of people get, you know, taken back. A lot of people slow down. A lot of people speed up and they catch right up to you. But it's, you know, it's hard. It's a very hard thing because, you know, it's one of those things where it's like, I thought I was doing this to better my life, not take people out of it that I thought were close to me.
But again, that's their choice to do that. It's not your choice, you know, if they can't handle, and I have had this with other clients, you know, where I know one client, she would go out to dinner and because she lost so much weight and, her friends would be like, and her friends, a lot of them were still very overweight, but that's okay. That they didn't want to change, and there's nothing wrong with that either. You are who you are, and who you want to be, what you want to put your effort into. But they would literally skinny shame her. You know, they would be like at the table, like, "What are you ordering? What are you? Come on, we're all eating." Like, and she'd be like, "But I couldn't even eat that if I wanted to now because she had changed so much." You know. But she was like, it was so uncomfortable. She said at one point she almost started crying. She had to like get up from the table. Terrible.
Wow.
So it's things, I think at the end of the day, when we talk about this, you have to think about the type of person you are. And again, this can go on both sides. So like, for example, I know I said this before, I have clients who, when the GLP-1s came out and so many people started doing them, some people, they didn't look and say, well, you know, maybe some of them did, but I'm just saying not all of them did. They didn't look and say like, oh my gosh, like they're doing that. They used it as motivation and they did something about them. They didn't want to go on it, so they did something about themselves. They changed themselves. They didn't say like, oh my God, she's on GLP, you know, whatever. Don't sit and be negative about someone else. That is just bad karma. Focus on what you can do to change yourself to be better. And I have so many people who've done that, which I love. But I think you as a person have to decide where you fall in all of this. What kind of person do you want to be? And some people right now may be reflecting and going, well, I wasn't a good friend, or I didn't, I should have reacted differently. Now that I'm hearing it and I realize how I acted, like I was talking about the one client with her friends, her supposedly friends around the table, you don't act like that when you're a friend, you don't. And then as you as the person have to decide, are they friends? Are they worth keeping in my life? And that doesn't mean you have to walk away. It just means you have to have boundaries. You have to decide where you fit in their life. And if someone doesn't want the best for you, where do you, how close do you want your relationship to be with that person?
Yep. You got to shed the people. That's what I got.
That's so funny.
Shed the pounds and the people also come up. Yeah. But no, it makes total sense, and it's a great point.
Well, I think that gives a good idea on, what we talked about today, the importance of it, and where you fall as a person, because you also don't want to be that negative person, and you may be doing great in your life, but you still don't want to be that negative person. You don't want to be jealous or about somebody doing better than you. You want to praise them. You want to support them. Mm-hmm. It's just going to get you further.
Absolutely. Yep. And, the biggest thing too is, the discipline that you show is always going to reveal those who belong in your life versus don't.
I love that.
Like you said, and over time, the consistency will actually, expose everything for you, because as consistently as you are, not going out or not going out to eat, like not going to all the plans that everybody would do, like it'll show the encouragement to you from all sides.
Right.
Like, why didn't you show up? Oh, that's great. Have fun. The different sides of like the positive people in your life that are positively reinforcing you or negatively reinforcing. Mm-hmm. Like, who competes with who fears it, who is supporting you, who's showing up for you, who is kind of putting it down. Look out for like the traps too, like the little sarcasm or jokes, like sometimes a joke is a way to like play it off like it's not serious.
Right.
But it might be serious to you.
Listen, if it hurts you, it's serious.
If it hurts you, it's serious. And, self-improvement becomes less about losing weight or making money or buying a new car, and more about discovering, who truly aligns what they want in life with what you want.
Right. I love that. Yeah. Good.
But,
all right. So we're going to close it up here. Think about who you are, who you want to be. I think that's the most important thing. Yep. And keep it positive. And everyone have a great, happy, healthy week. Bye.